Welcome to Lakefront Hangover, episode 6. Episode 6. So, those of you that don't know, there was not an episode of Lakefront Empire last night.
Yeah.
What did they?
Rock the Block had a 2-hour season finale. So they pushed our next episode 6, back to next Monday.
So next Monday, tune in to HGTV, 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll be not live. I was going to say live, but we'll be back on. Had a couple people reach out to us about that. So that's what's going on with that whole scenario. So we don't have anything with the show to talk about. So what we thought we would do is we'd talk about inventory right now at the Lake of the Ozarks. And again, this is hyper-focused just on the Lake of the Ozarks, nowhere else in the state of Missouri.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't worry about the rest of the state. We don't worry about the country or anything like that because, it's not what we specialize in. We specialize in Lake of the Ozarks real estate.
That's right. And so, we haven't really had an inventory issue until the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
Before that, we always had inventory to show and everything else. And now even today, it feels like there's inventory issues.
Well, definitely, we watch the market all the time, watch the MLS, and it definitely feels like, there's issues with inventory that the masses want to look at. But it does also feel like we're starting to see a climb in inventory.
Yes, it does.
Property is spending more time on the market. Not drastic, but it's spending more time on the market.
Yep.
Buyers don't have the urgency they had before during the COVID market. So it's not like you're putting something out there and everything's selling within 1 or 2 days of being on the market.
With multiple offers and escalation addendums and everything.
That still happens on occasion, but it's the minority now. When most of the time it's going to spend a few weeks, if not a couple of months on the market. So
that's right. So we're going to dive into some inventory stats real quick. We hope you like statistics. We're going to try and make it fun. A lot of people, don't really like stats, but at the same time, it's the age-old question: how's the market? So we're going to kind of dive into that, but just a brief segment of it, and that comes into inventory.
And we're going to hyper focus on residential property. We're not going to talk about commercial land, farms, or anything like that right now. We're just focusing on what probably 90% of our business is residential real estate.
Correct.
Right?
So residential, and more specifically, even more than that, is we're looking at single-family homes and we're looking at condos. So based on single-family homes, let's take a look at that. So we've got single-family homes, and yes, we are cheating, and we've got a computer in front of us because we can't remember all this. So, and all of this data is coming directly from the MLS. So we don't have access to for sale by owners, stuff like that. It's just what's going on in the MLS system. And so currently, how many listings did we see come in on single-family houses this last month?
So in March of 2024, for single-family homes, all of them, regardless of being on the water, off the water, or whatnot, brand new listings in the month of March was 296 new listings.
296 properties came onto the market. It really doesn't feel like there was 296 put up for sale.
Well, we're talking about the entire Lake of the Ozarks. It's still a decent enough, range. We're not only just talking about Osage Beach or Lake Ozark. There is, that's a large geographic area that we're covering there.
Sure, but that's almost 8 or 9 houses per day that were put up for sale. It just, I know a lot of buyers are out there looking at Zillow, Realtor.com. It just doesn't feel like that. But in comparison, let's go back to the COVID market.
Well, I thought it'd be nice just for comparison to 1 year ago.
Okay.
1 year ago, in March of 2023, the number of new listings was 208 new listings.
208?
208 new listings of homes in March of 2023 compared to 296 this year. So, we are an uptick in inventory. So
that's about 88 more homes.
Absolutely. So, and then if we look, you wanted to go to the COVID market. So right in the middle of the COVID market, let's just say March of 21.
Yep.
We're really deep into it. The 287 new listings.
So, we're right on the same pace with the COVID market.
Yeah, right there. Just a couple new listings over what it was in March of 21. You can even go back a couple of years to the beginning of the COVID market, March of 19, right?
Well, when did COVID hit? Like
20? 20. So let's look at March of 2020. It was 252 listings, but it really was, that's about the time that it was hitting.
Yeah.
So 252 new listings in March of 2020. So
Okay. So it was actually down at that time. And then what about 2019?
2019, so 1 year before that was 298 listings.
So we're basically on pace with what we consider a normal market.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. What about condos?
So when we changed this from homes to condos, the number of new listings for
last month
was 154 new listings.
Wow. 154 new condos put up for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And how about 22?
You want to go back to 22?
Well, no, I'm sorry, 23. You're right.
March of 23, there was 92 new listings. So think about that. Think about that. 92 new listings a year ago in March, and March of this year, 154. So, and that's something, I mean, I've got several condos on the market right now. Mm-hmm. I have been seeing an uptick in the number of condos being made available to purchase right now. So,
you remember during COVID when the big boom hit, we would look for condos for sale and there'd be like 2.
Yeah.
Total in the entire MLS.
The average, and that's the way to look at it. What was the average daily availability of properties to show? Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing. A lot of things were selling, but they were going under contract right away.
Yeah.
So we are seeing if you want to buy a condo, there are choices out there for you to look at.
Which is nice because, a couple of years ago, you had no choice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to single family detached. Now, we've heard about the number of new listings. What about the number of homes for sale in March of last month?
So, yeah, we're talking, this combines new listings with listings that haven't sold yet, that were already on the market.
Correct.
Single family homes in the month of March for just homes for sale, 676 properties for sale in the month of March.
676.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that you'd be able to find a house with 676 available for sale.
Yeah, well, let's compare that. Let's go back pre-COVID. Let's go back to a standard market pre-COVID and let's go to 2014. Let's see what that was like. 1,860 homes available for purchase.
So we're like, what, half?
1,000.
We're less than half.
We're almost a third. A little more than a third of what it was 10 years ago in March. So, but that was 2014. Mm-hmm. We were well out of the recession and everything.
Yes, we were.
So way up over what was a recession, because you go back to the recession time, call it 2008, and the number of homes on the market was 446
in March of 08. Yeah,
March of 08, and then the real estate market starts to improve. People are learning this, so they're putting things out there. We saw a huge spike in the number of listings between December of 2011 and August of 2013. So I guess that's almost a year and a half time frame right there.
Yeah.
A huge jump.
And it looks like the peak for the number of single family homes available was August of 13, and it was 2,165 units. It's a lot of houses to get sold.
It's a lot of houses, but again, I think part of that could have been because the built-up desire, want to sell your property, because a lot of people held on during the recession, not willing to sell when the market was, way down. They couldn't get out of their property what they wanted to. I mean, we took a lot of listings back then. It was like, you're overpriced, but I want the listing. So we took it and things didn't sell. A lot of people weren't willing to do that at that time. So once the market improves and the word gets out about it, you start seeing the inventory really climb. So
I always loved the comment back then. We would do a market analysis on a property and sellers would be like, well, anybody can give it away. Not necessarily in that time.
And that's what a big talk about, we've all heard sellers say, well, if that was the price, I mean, I can sell for that. That's not what I want you for. Yeah. And it's like, well, it's not our job to get you way up above what the market value is.
Correct.
In my opinion, our job is to analyze, interpret the market, and assist you through this.
Yeah.
Most of the time, a lot of times sellers understand, okay, I see what you're saying. That's where the market is. I'm not willing to sell for that. So either we'll try it at my number, or if we're wasting our time, we'll just wait until it comes around.
Yeah.
So, but again, with inventory, we're at 676 homes for sale in the month of March at the Lake of the Ozarks MLS, single family homes. Compare that to condos. Condos for sale was 370.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, what's even more interesting is let's look at how many sold. How many houses sold in the month of March?
So single-family sold homes in the month of March, there was 152 closings.
152. Now, and I always like to compare that to COVID. So in March of 21, how many homes sold?
March of 21, there was 173 sales.
Wow. So it really wasn't that big of a difference.
Yeah, 173 to 152. So you're talking, what, 19 less sales?
So what was the peak?
Or 21 less sales? The peak market for single-family homes sold,
Just the number of units.
was July of 2020, 302 closings.
And that's right when they slammed interest down. And, pretty much we were coming out of lockout, I think. And, of course, had the big TMZ show in Memorial Weekend. No social distancing at the pool party.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that, TMZ. We appreciate the free publicity on that.
Yeah, it really helped out our economy here wonderfully.
Yeah, it did. Okay, so what about condos?
Condo sales,
How many condos sold in March of this year?
So far, March of this year, there were 57 condo sales, as opposed to, what was that, a year before in March of 23 were 78. So we're down a little bit from what a year ago in the number of sales.
And what's the peak?
The peak was July of 20.
July of 20.
153 condos sold in the month of July in 2020.
That's a lot of title insurance policies.
A lot of realtors were pretty busy at that time.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always tough. So you want to talk about absorption rate. Absorption rate is basically, if nothing else sells, or not sells, if nobody else puts another property on the market, how long is it going to take to sell what we currently have for sale?
And, with that, NAR, and you're a big guy who likes Lawrence Young and everything, NAR.
Oh, yeah.
Their perspective is, what is the line for a buyer's market, a balanced market, and a seller's market when we start talking absorption rates?
Well, I think I've heard different statistics on this, but it's anywhere between 6 and 12 months worth of inventory.
For what?
What do you mean?
So if I told you, look, right now we're looking at month supply, okay, and we're looking for condos at the Lake of the Ozarks. In March of 24, it said there was 6.5 months worth of supply. So what you're saying, the absorption rate says that if another condo doesn't come on the market, it'll take 6.5 months for the market to absorb or sell off all of those listings.
Correct.
According to NAR, would that be a balanced market, a seller's market, or a buyer's market?
You're getting more into a balanced market. I mean, it's still a little bit more on the heavy side of the seller's market. There's just not enough inventory still to be able to drag. And I mean, let's be honest. If you're talking about a buyer's market, a buyer has all the power. A buyer can come in and negotiate and offer, 10% off the list price, and then beat them up on inspections and things of that nature. So I think that fine line is, if you're going to go between 6 and 12, the fine line is 9 months, based on NAR information. Now, again, I'm not pulling this directly from NAR at this current second, so I could be wrong, which, let's be honest, a lot of times I am wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, just my interpretation, I would agree, somewhere around a 6-month absorption rate, to me, feels like a balanced market.
Yes.
It feels like it's one where if everything is right, and you're a buyer, you better jump on it, but you do have there will be some options out there that you can shop and look for. It's not like a seller's market, which I would assume a seller's market, probably anything around 3 or 4 months or less.
Yeah.
Absorption rate probably equates to a seller's market, meaning if you're a buyer in that market, you've got to be super aggressive if you want to buy something.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's I'm going to say 8 or 9+ month absorption rate, at least for our community down here, I would equate that to a buyer's market, because you've probably got extra inventory out there, more options available, it's taking more time to sell these properties. So a buyer has the ability to be more aggressive in how they, negotiate, more favorable terms for themselves.
Correct. Yeah.
Makes sense?
I remember looking at absorption rate during the recession, and it was like 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really scary back in that time. I mean, it was a bad deal. So.
Absolutely. Well, okay, yeah, absorption rate. So we're looking 6.5 right now. Let's see what it was back in 2013. We're looking at condos. The absorption rate was 20 months.
Yeah. So it's almost
a little less than 2-year absorption rate. Now, a lot of that had to do with the number of properties out there. Condo might be a little tough to look at because you probably had a lot of condo complexes out there with speculated properties available for purchase.
Looking at single family homes,
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at 18 months.
18.4 months in the month of August of 2013.
Yeah.
That looks like that was the peak right there. So probably still, again, we're coming out of the recession. We're a couple of years beyond the recession. The word's gotten out. The market's getting better. People are buying. So sellers start flooding the market with their homes to sell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for fun, I want to look at the absorption rate on lakefront single family homes.
And it's important for us to pay attention to that because that is our market.
Yes.
We sell a lot of offshore homes, but it's the Lake of the Ozarks. People are coming here. We got full-time retirees, part-timers, investors buying lakefront homes.
Yeah. So currently, for the month of March, we had a 5-month absorption rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's slightly down below that 6. What was it? 6.4.
Yeah, it's just right at 6 months. Yeah. Just over 6 months for all residential properties. So single-family homes. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we're at a 5-month absorption rate in the month of March for lakefront single-family homes. A little bit better than it was obviously during the COVID time, mm-hmm. but I still think that equates to pretty much a balanced market for us.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would agree. So, in your personal opinion, are we under an inventory shortage?
I still get complaints from buyers wishing that there was more for them to be able to shop.
Mm-hmm. I think now, wait a minute. How much of that is buyers complaining about wanting the prices better as opposed to the inventory better?
There is certainly some that has to do with price, but again, a lot of it is as well, I think, buyers wishing there was just more options for them to choose from.
Yeah.
I
remember you and I were talking about that $500,000 to $800,000 lakefront home. That seems to be almost non-existent mm-hmm. anymore, in the primary areas of the hub of the Lake of the Ozarks, Four Seasons, Osage Beach, Lake Ozark, mm-hmm. On into the Link Creek, the main portions. That $500,000 to $800,000, if you were priced in that range pre-COVID, where do you think you are today? Are you $1 million plus?
Probably. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably $1 million plus. And if you think about it, with the way the market is, so many people were able to lock their homes into really low interest rates and everything. Mm-hmm. There still is a lot of properties out there people just aren't willing to sell.
Yeah.
And I do believe that there are homes out there that fit that price range. Our office has got one under contract right now over at Lynn Creek, just under $700,000. Mm-hmm. Nice home, still needs some work done to it, but it went pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So definitely that would be the sweet spot. Anything between north of 5 and less than $1 million, there's going to be a lot of activity on a property in that price range.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm seeing a lot of. I've had some clients looking in up to multiple millions of dollars to purchase a home. And when we've seen homes that they liked below $2 million, those often sold within the first weekend of being on the market.
Wow.
So again, if it's priced right and it shows well enough, it's going to sell. But that seems to be a really hot spot right now. That $1 million to $1.5 million, maybe even $2 million price range. There's a lot of people looking in that price range to buy things. You get north of $2 million, and we're seeing those are not selling nearly as quickly.
Yeah. And so why are people not selling?
I believe the number one reason is interest rates.
Interest rates.
I believe a lot of people were able to...
Well, wait a minute. I thought people weren't buying because of interest rates. I thought interest rates were stopping people from buying. Why would it stop people from selling?
Because there are plenty of people that would like to sell and buy something else because they see how much equity they have in their home. But when they do the math based on what they have at a 2.5%, 3% interest rate, And now if they go out and buy, they have to borrow money, and they're going to be paying upwards of 7% interest rate, give or take, based on the bank and the loan program. They don't like those numbers. You have got one of the best scripts about it. It used to be whenever you spoke to somebody about selling their property and they decided not to sell, it was because they loved their home. They loved their home.
Actually, this is, I stole this from Lawrence Yoon from the National Association of Realtors.
But it's very true, and it's still a great script.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it used to be they loved their home.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times when you talk to somebody about selling, it's not because they love their home that they choose not to sell. It's because they love their payment.
Yeah, I love my interest rate. Lawrence Yoon said it best at one of the conferences. He goes, you know, there's a lot of people out there saying right now, man, I'd really like to get a divorce, but I like my interest rate more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I mean, so when COVID hit, they slammed the interest rates down. A lot of people bought it. And you remember, there was a lot of people during that time period when we had multiple offers. There was a lot of buyers that said, well, I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to get into multiple offers. Or I'm not paying over list price, right?
Yes.
And we got very good at doing escalation addendums. Well, the people that ended up not buying during that time, they actually ended up paying substantially, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Because now the market shot up, and not only did the market shoot up, but the interest rate shot up.
Yeah, and we're not seeing, there have been a lot of people that held out there's a lot of people that held out buying because they believed that the market was going to correct itself and they'd see values come back down.
Yeah.
So we talked to a lot of people who said, I'm cashing out now. I'm going to sit back on the background and watch this thing, and when the market comes back down, I'm going to jump back in and buy then. That's a great idea, but we're not seeing values come down.
Yeah.
We're seeing it level out.
Yeah.
You know, they're staying steady. You know, we're seeing where sellers now have to negotiate more than they did in the past.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing values come down. They're just staying steady.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I think Warren Buffett, he had said, when everybody's buying, you should sell, and when everybody's selling, you should buy. But nobody anticipated what happened during COVID.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So, you know, and, you know, obviously, you know, COVID was a big blip and everything else. Nobody anticipated or saw that coming or anything. So, you know, we try not to factor that into our statistics when looking at different things, but at the same time, you have to look at it. So, but yeah, okay. So there's our stats update, I guess.
Well, we wanted to talk about inventory and what's going on. You know, and the number one question people always have whenever they find out you're a realtor is, how's the market? What's the market doing? You know, and what we can basically summarize it is the market is still good. You know, inventory is, you know, little low, but climbing. Values are staying steady. We're not seeing a huge jump or a big drop in values or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, but what the biggest thing is now, it's a balanced market.
Yeah.
You know, buyers, you know, sellers do not have the ability to dictate terms to buyers anymore. And, you know, buyers do have the ability to do some negotiation, but not everything, because there's still competition out there. Right? We have seen some properties have multiple offers on it. On occasion, we've seen them go above list price. So if, as a buyer, you don't have the ability to just sit back and wait for the best deal to come along, because if something comes along and it's almost there, you know, it probably is your best bet.
Yeah. So get off the fence, and if you want to buy a house, let's just get it going, get it done. Talk to your real estate practitioner, whether it's us or somebody else, and you know, get educated and get to work on buying a house. So anyways, that was gonna pretty much, I got some appointments I gotta run to, so that's gonna wrap up Lakefront Hangover episode 6 for today. If you have things that you want us to talk about, statistics or, you know, the market in general, what's going on, hit us up in the comments, shoot us an email, phone call. We're easy to find on the internet. Let us know what you want to hear about. We'll talk about it. We'll pull the information directly from the MLS. We'll talk as intelligently as we can about the different things that we're seeing. Next week, we're going to be coming from Kansas City. We'll be up there for the state meetings.
Spring Business Conference.
So we'll be coming at you from Kansas City. Might have a couple of guests pop in on us. Who knows?
Absolutely. We got Monday was when Lakefront Empire resumes. So
And we're in that one.
we are in this one. Yep,
That's
this
right.
is our third episode that we're prominently featured in.
So we're excited about that. And we have no idea if there's going to be a season 2 yet. We have no idea. Nobody's told us anything.
We're hoping that there is, and we hear that the ratings are okay. Not totally in the tank or anything, but hopefully here in a few weeks we'll have a word back if they're going to pick up another season or not.
Yeah,
so.
If they do, we're going to have to get to running quickly.
Absolutely. It'll be a mad dash again.
So that's going to do it for Lakefront Hangover, episode 6, and we'll see you next week. And Jonas?
Go Chiefs.
See you guys.